We seen on that last video, right, two types of transaction. Okay, we seen on the last video two types of transaction. There was complementary, right, and there was cross transactions. Now, let's have a look at what that means. If I say to you, you're stupid or something, I'm inviting you to take a child ego state. If you take the child ego state, the arrows would look like that, parent to child, they're not crossing each other. They're complementary, they're parallel. That can go on all day. Many marriages are like that. Or nature and parents. Oh, hey love, you know, you're doing so well. Oh, thank you, please. So that sort of thing. Complementary can go on all day. So here's a couple. Oh, sorry, these are different ones here. But these are all complementary. Okay? So, have you seen my glasses? Yes, they're on the dining table. That's just adult to adult, isn't it? Very rational, very logical, complementary. The arrows would go across like that from adult to adult. They're not crossing. Okay? So, there we're inviting an adult logical response. We never think about inviting people because we do it all conscious. What we're trying to do really is force people into different modes of being. Okay, so somebody who's very needy might try and force you into a nurturing parent. Well, you might find that demanding. You might love it because it might give you a sense of worth. It just depends. Isn't it dreadful how long it takes to get through these checkouts? Like that sort of critical parenting. Yes, it's disgraceful. That's critical parent. It's a critical parent. There's still, here we are. The reason there's no breakdown in communication there is why, before I said if you get a critical parent with critical parents, then you're going to get horns locking and there's going to be trouble or they're going to break communication. But not in that case. Why? Because they're picking on someone else. Okay? They're actually directing their attention to somebody else. So if you like the joining of forces, we all do that when we need them out, and don't worry about somebody. And it's a way of venting. You can do it in work, you go for the coffee to house, sometimes we get on your bloody nerves this morning, this, that, the other, and then yeah, I know what you mean, he's alright, and this, that, the other, and, you know, and then you vent, that's alright. If we stuffed it down with our problems, we're not really doing anybody any harm by doing that. Okay. That's twice this week you've kept me waiting. So that's the parents, the critical parents, to the child. And here, the response. So they're inviting them to respond in child mode. I'm sorry to be such a nuisance. Very compliant, the adaptive child. Very conformative, compliant. Okay. So set up a reciprocal pattern that could be maintained indefinitely. Them type of communications, they won't evoke any problems while they're complementary. Right, it all goes wrong when we go to crossed. Because here, as we've seen in the video, a crossed transaction occurs when the response given is not the one which the stimulus intended. Okay, here, when he says, you're useless, bit like that professor to me, what the hell do you think you're doing? And I said, who the hell? He was inviting me into to take the child ego state. But I didn't. I took the critical parent and said, who do you think you're talking to? Much like here, now you can see these are crossed. That's conflict. Now, we've seen in the video what happened when we got in. I can't hide that. What happened? What happened when we got in that situation in the video? Do you remember? Okay. Somebody's got to give, haven't he? Somebody's got to change ego states. Otherwise, we're just going to lock horns here. Really, you've got two people in critical parent mode. And I said before, here you've got a cross transaction. So complementary, the responder from the ego state that was invited. Okay, adult to adult, child to parents. Here, he's inviting her to drop to child state, and she's not having any of it. She's going straight back into critical parent mode, so you've got conflict. It's a cross transaction. Okay? And something's got to give. Quite often here, one will drop into child mode eventually. Okay? Or communication will totally and utterly break down. Or one may de-escalate it by going into adult mode and say, look, this is getting us nowhere. Let's talk about this logically or rationally. That's another way of handling that. But can you see by transactional analysis, it actually breaks down communication and into units, if you like. And that's what it is. That's a transaction. I invite you to go. You're useless. I invite you. In brackets, the unspoken word, I invite you to go to child. That's a transaction. That's the stimulus. That's the response. And the response here is quite right as well, really. There's no harm in that. Don't talk to me that way. Okay? With me and that professor, what happened then? Here, this is going to be a breakdown in communication or conflict. But when one drops, like he did, that professor, into child mode and went into the poor me, okay, which he's learnt as a child, then we've got complementary and communication can then carry on. Okay? Good. Now, I'm sorry I'm not giving you a lot of time to do exercises. I should give you more. You're going to get a lot more time next year. But I want you just to take 5 minutes, well, take a bit longer than that, just to have a look. So working individually, I don't mind if you discuss it on your tables. So identify as many situations as possible where you respond in the parent ego state. How do you feel, act when you respond this way? Just have a look at them 2 questions. I don't want you to go into too much detail, but try and get an idea and self-awareness about when you go into the different ego states. Is that all right? I'll give you about 15 minutes all in all. Say 10 minutes to discuss, and then 5 minutes we'll come back and discuss your answers.